Welcome back to the Introduction to Philosophy and Ethics. Today we're going to talk about epistemology. The big question with epistemology is, what do we know? How do we know what we know? And can we trust what we think we know? When it comes to this idea of knowledge, there is a classical definition that was originally presented by Plato. This is also called, and something you may see on a future test, hint hint, Plato's tripartite definition of knowledge. It says that there exist three necessary conditions for us to have true knowledge. The first of these is belief. As we talked about before, in the example of does God exist, you have to believe that there is a God before you can believe in that God. So belief is a necessary condition for knowing. The second thing is truth. And as Plato described it, truth simply means that something is what it is. The third thing is justification. That is, proofs that show validity, or arguments that show that this is true. So Plato's tripartite definition of knowledge was simply this: true, justified, belief. If we have something that is true, justified, and a belief that is held, it can be considered knowledge. But there are some major theories about knowledge. Now, make sure you've got pen and paper, because there are some various nuances to these. The first of these is skepticism. Skepticism says that all that we have are beliefs, but there is no knowledge. The primary mode of a skeptic is doubt. The next one is empiricism. Empiricism says that we can know something if we can justify it with respect to what we see, what we hear, what we feel, what we taste, and what we touch. Essentially the five senses. Empirical belief says, I know this is here because I can touch it. When I hit my fingers against it, I can not only feel it, but I can hear it. So it has to do with our senses justifying what we see. And then the last one is rationalism. Rationalism says that our beliefs can be justified in light of rational evidence. And as you've seen in other lectures, this is one of the primary modes of philosophy. It's using our mind, our brain, to understand what exists. So let's go back through these and talk a little bit more in depth. Let's go back first to skepticism. There are typically two flavors of skepticism, if you will. One is global skepticism. The other is local skepticism. Global skepticism tends to say that no knowledge of any kind is possible. A global skeptic would deny any knowledge or any claims to truth. This would be someone who typically is a nihilist. They doubt everything that exists. The next one would be local skepticism. Now, local skepticism is typically what you're going to run into on a day-to-day basis. This focuses on particular methods of justification or fields of knowledge. So, for example, they might say, within the realm of science, I doubt that this exists. Or within history, I doubt that this happened. They're skeptical, but not about everything, just about specific fields of research. To combat this thinking, René Descartes, who lived from about 1596 to 1650, was a French philosopher and helped us to understand whether we can prevent skepticism from undermining everything that we know. He is famous for a statement you've probably heard at some point in high school: cogito ergo sum. That is, I think, therefore I am. He said that the basic knowledge, the basic way that we can get rid of all global skepticism to wonder if anything whatsoever is true, is that we first are thinking beings, and that proves our existence. Descartes attempted to doubt and examine all of his beliefs just to see if he could be certain of these. Now, this led to what many people have called the dream argument. The dream argument essentially was a statement that said, it follows, therefore, that I cannot eliminate the possibility that right now I am dreaming. Can you right now eliminate the possibility that you are dreaming? The point of his dream argument was not to undermine the very fabric of reality, but to establish what he could and could not be 100% certain of. And again, it went back to, I think, therefore I am, was the one thing that he could truly find certainty in. The point of the dream argument was not to break out into Inception or the Matrix and get all of reality doubting, but it was to say, how can we prevent skepticism from creeping in on us? And his ultimate conclusion was our own thinking ability.